Next, we're gonna dive into the wonderful world of supply chain management, and we're gonna hear some interesting insights from one of our customers, Jason Albro, who is the Executive Vice President of Kloeckner Metals in the US, who will be sharing his insights on how location has helped him innovate in his business and in his company. Jason's keynote will be done as an interview. Interview will be conducted by our own Tom Ruth. So over to you, Tom and Jason.
So thank you, Thomas. And my name is Tom Ruth, and I'm responsible for Quuppa's business in the Americas. I'm happy to kick off the Americas version of our partner event, our 4th annual partner event. With me is Jason Albro from Kloeckner Metals. I'm incredibly excited to have Jason on board for a couple of reasons. You'll hear from a lot of our partners through the next several sessions. Jason comes to us from a different perspective, the actual end user. And in this, we get to hear a lot about technology, but we're going to really hear where the rubber hits the road, where the problems get solved by the solution, and what some of the cascading events and some of the causes, the root causes that were discovered and the problems that were solved therein, simply stated. So with me is Jason. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Kloeckner?
Hey, Tom. Thanks for having me. Jason Albro. I'm the EVP with Kloeckner Metals here in the U.S., running our flat roll business unit. Kloeckner is a little over a 100-year-old company, European-based out of Germany, Duisburg, Germany. We have locations all across Europe, the U.S., and Brazil. We deal in steel, metals, stainless, aluminum, and the U.S. is broken into 2 main business units, flat rolled and our heavy carbon group, and I lead one of those units, the flat roll side.
So one of the things that, as a quick side note, this is the UB representing the end customer here. It's usually when we talk about metal and steel fabrication, it's usually not one of the industries that really is immediately associated with digitization. And that's one of the reasons why we thought it would be provocative to have you here. And the second, because we are a radio frequency based technology, everybody knows that RF doesn't work well with metal. And we were actually able to solve some of those problems, and so hopefully you'll tip the hat toward us in some regard through this conversation. But anyway, so why don't you, I guess, tell us a little bit about Kloeckner and some of the business problems that you guys were having, and how you came upon this solution.
You bet. The interesting part, you talk about digitalization. I mean, if you look anything up with Kloeckner right now, I think you'll see in our industry, I mean, steel is very antiquated. I mean, it is the most basic thing. There are still customers using fax machines to send us orders. So digitalization is something that we have pushed for many years, trying to find those efficiencies in our processes and link us to our customers in a new and different way. And this is something, but I think that we're the forefront in our whole industry on. And years ago, I've been looking at this RTLS idea for many years, and we had an idea here. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we came up with a potential solution. And being in metal, it was very difficult, Tom. I mean, there was a lot of different ways that radio frequency was bouncing around a building that has nothing but stacks of steel in it.
I think actually now would be a good time for us to show a little bit of the backdrop of Kloeckner. I think we have a video that we're going to show here. Why don't we cue that video, and then we'll come back with more questions.
Perfect.
Kloeckner Metals Corporation, we have defined a strategy over the last few years, and that strategy has been heavily focused on driving efficiencies, improving productivity, leveraging digital innovation. It's truly becoming this customer-centric. It always starts with the customer, but we also want to be data-driven. We want to create processes that are so robust and so quantifiable that we can leverage the power of data, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and build that into our very core, into everything we do, to be able to make better business decisions, quick business decisions, quantifiably powerful business decisions. And of course, then all of that kind of creates a high-performance organization.
Operational excellence is getting better every day. Operational excellence is giving your customers what they want and when they want it. On the surface, that's what we do. Behind the scenes, it's making sure that each employee has the opportunity to perform their job function at a very high level. To get that point, as managers of this company, we have to go deep and ask our customers, what do they do each and every day? What would make their experience better every day? And what would make the customer's experience better every day? When we learn those things, we can make decisions. We want to become more efficient, we want to automate, and we want to perform at 100% to all of our customers.
I like the ability to have data tell the story rather than draw conclusions. There's so much to be said in analyzing our information and being able to then give it to the business so that they can use it and make very impactful decisions. There are a lot of really exciting things going on in IT. All these things are enabling the business to be able to do more when all of these future projects come together.
A huge part of our culture, like every company, are the people that work here. We can't be as successful as we want to be if we don't have a strong culture with team members who really are engaged and want to do a great job and believe in the vision and the direction of the company. John, Bart, and Andrea have made wonderful strides in helping us really understand our culture better and make it a focus of who we are. We're an important thread of the American economy. We hope that as people are starting to leave their schools and think about what kind of career may interest them, they can see the importance and the purpose of working for a company like Kloeckner. We're really making a difference for the entire country. So many of our folks have worked here for their entire careers, and we love that. Routinely, we take a look at our compensation structure and our benefit programs to make sure they're really serving the needs of our employees. And we're so proud to have received the honor of being one of the United States' top workplaces.
Digitalization to us is more than just a buzzword. It's how we approach and work with our customers to find solutions. And oftentimes solutions that weren't even visible or anticipated when we sat down to work together. So one of the great benefits of the digital transformation, it's really through kind of the change management process, it's shifted our organizational thinking such that we're really a much more agile company than we were 5-10 years ago. Our teams are open to new challenges. They're always looking for ways to innovate. It's really been an exciting change for the business. And in working with our customers, we've uncovered that transparency can lead to a much improved relationship and supply chain, and the trust that's necessary leads to real breakthroughs and improving the way that we go to market and do business. Often our customers have told us that in working with us and to find new solutions, we've improved not only their relationship with Kloeckner, but some internal processes as well. And that's really our goal. We want to be that solutions provider. We'll be looked at as the partner rather than just a metal supplier.
So safety is important to Kloeckner because our biggest asset, our most important asset is our employees, right? We take safety very seriously, and we want to make sure that our employees take it as seriously as we do. And it's a top-down, bottom-up approach that we take for safety. And it's our vision, our vision of zero harm to all of our employees. And we call that safety always. Safety and productivity, they work hand in hand. By far, our best performing productivity branches are also our best performing safety branches.
I couldn't be prouder and more honored to be part of such a great organization. And really what this is all about, it's the people. I truly believe we have the best team in this business, top to bottom. And it's so powerful to watch a team come together in a common purpose, embrace the strategy that we've really created together, building this culture that's so important to our success, and embracing the values that we all agree are so important to who we are as an organization.
Jason, I have one quick question for you. What's with the dog logo? And what's that have to do with metal?
So the dog's actually a great story. Several CEOs ago over in Germany, when Kloeckner was on the acquisition route, much smaller company, they were looking for a brand like a Nike swoosh or whatever. They were trying to come up with this brand. The CEO at the time had a dog that very beloved to the family and had passed away. And then they went and tried all these things, and all of a sudden the CEO says, "Hey, why don't we use a dog, right? I mean, a dog is loyal and compassionate and dedicated and all these things." And that was kind of the birth of the dog. And I mean, you see, we wear it everywhere we go. I love the dog. I love the brand. People are always like, "What's up with the dog?" And that's my company. So, but around Europe, it's all over our trucks and it's our branding. It does stand out to people who kind of know a little bit about steel and metals in the industry. But it's really our culture, Tom. I mean, it is exactly who we are. The last several years, we've really focused on those things. Humility and commitment and loyalty to not just ourselves and each other, but our customers as well. It's the dog's a big deal. It's in actually everything we do, and it's like ingrained into our culture. It's fantastic.
Well, it's great to hear the businesses are trying to embody iconically as well as culturally the business tenets that you were talking about with commitment to customers. I'm a dog owner myself. I have a loyal lab, and so I get it. Tell us a little bit about your business, the daily operation, the problems that you guys had, at least foundationally, before RTLS. And I think I realize you may slip in the word RFID in here, and as everybody knows, that RTLS is sort of the next generation from RFID. It's taking radio frequency identification to the next level. But to tell us a little bit about your experience and the problem that you were trying to solve foundationally, and how you went through it.
Okay. Again, I was telling you how antiquated we are, right? I mean, we take coils of steel and we make sheets out of it and we ship it out the door. Most of our facilities are pretty large in my mind in nature, 170 to 300,000 square feet. And basically there is steel everywhere. And we realized in our lean journey that we've been ongoing now, we were just looking for minutes all the time. What is saving us time? What is saving us resources, et cetera? And RFID and RTLS came into a point that it was affordable now, because we needed thousands of tags. And at one time they were 30, 40, 50, even higher per tag. And they got to a very reasonable range. We were able to look at it and say, we need to save some time in just locating a material. And that's how it came to play, really. That's where it started.
So was this a difficult internal sale for you? Tell us a little bit about that process.
Very. Even though we're definitely on the forefront of digitalization, about 4 years ago when we were starting to look at this, our CEO had retired and We have a new CEO, my boss, and I'm part of that executive team now. We realized there was no standard operating procedure across our organization. So we wanted to not a bunch of one-offs. We didn't want one-offs everywhere. So here I'm trying to introduce this technology, but we had to implement it somewhere, right? But we couldn't see where this was going to work across all of our business units. And it still does not to this day, but it does make a lot of sense for several of our business units. So the sell was hard, trying to convince our team, because we make the decision as a team, why we need to spend this money and what is this going to do for us, right? Again, we're old school in thought, and it's hard for us to get out of our own way. We cut steel and we ship steel and we bill steel. I mean, that's all we could think of, right? So it was a hard sell. And
so just I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was done. That's fine.
Oh, okay. One of the, just as a quick comment to some of our partners, you know, as well as we always wonder, you know, what's with the next deployment, you know, there's usually a proof of concept that happens, and then there's a trial, and then, you know, you prove that it can work, and then it gets implemented in a plant, and then you have budgeting that goes on for, you know, subsequent years. And of course, then we had COVID. You know, it was in you know, bookending this at the other end of it. You know, but I guess one of the challenges that we and our partners all face, and you mentioned, you know, consensus decision making. You know, we all understand how that can be. I guess were there people that were resistant to introducing this type of technology in your firm?
Very, yeah, very. Even up to the point that it was up and running, they wanted to call it a failure, and it didn't do what it said it was going to do. And but we had a lot of problems in implementation, and a lot of problems with our first trial at the tags themselves. So they weren't wrong, but they weren't right either. We were just now getting going. So
yeah, I think
yes,
that's one of the challenges that we see, you know, when we are working with an open tag ecosystem of partners, making sure that we recommend the right tags for that have the right size battery, that communicate at the right volume, that we can communicate to as well and help control in different environments, are all foundational pieces. You know, just as to put a little context here, how many things are we tracking in your facility off the top?
it's roughly 4,000 something tags here at any one time at the moment.
Right, and then there's also obviously product that gets cycled in and out, and I guess that's one of the next questions that I'm going to have as a lead-in. Tell us about some of the first benefits that you realized, and you know, in terms of the problems that you were trying to solve, and that, you know, basically locating the items that you produced. But tell us a little bit more about, you know, what the benefits were that you initially realized.
Yeah, it's hard to share with the audience. Maybe in that video it had a little piece of the background of what our plant looked like. But picture stacks and stacks and stacks of, you know, 20-ton coils, and then stacks and stacks of slit coil and sheet at the other end. Stacks of this stuff everywhere. How do you find it? It was walking around trying to find the tiniest little number on 4,000 pieces of finished goods sitting out there. We had some idea that it was in A bay or B bay or C bay or D bay, but where was that in that bay? It took us an average of 30 minutes to locate a tag. And that was a piece of our time study, right? It was just saving time. We now locate tags in 5 minutes or less on average. That was massive, Tom. I mean, I'm telling you, it was game changing how much time we were saving and resources we didn't have to commit to this just locating material anymore.
So obviously finding things faster and the allowed the work to happen quicker, and so I guess you had a benefit in terms of overtime, as well as product. What were some of the other surprises that you experienced?
Right. So back to the skepticism, right? Everybody was like, okay, this thing isn't really working. Well, all of a sudden, we reduced our overtime around 30%. We didn't have to hire additional people. We were finding materials so quick. We were getting it out the door faster. We were producing roughly 3 more truckloads of steel per day. And back then, today's environment is totally different with the steel pricing, but we were achieving roughly $15,000 to $20,000 more per day in shipments. And now the justification for this expense just went through the roof. It was a no-brainer. All the skepticism went away, and we proved it out.
Wow, that's amazing. And because obviously you realize that time and motion gets saved, but the subsequent benefit of actually producing more and getting that out the door. When we talk in terms of percentages in ROIs, that seems to be, and anytime that gets mentioned in the IoT space, there's analysis, and a lot of times it's all wait and see. But this is exciting because it's a real active ROI case that we can all point to, in terms of reduced workflow and increased output. That's a phenomenal.
Yeah. You talk about ROI. I mean, every investment we make, especially as a public company, it is about ROI, right? And we never even considered we could get more out. And our whole ROI was based on a time savings and a potential OT savings in headcount. Okay, that took a couple of years as an ROI. As soon as we found out we can actually ship more because we can find more material quickly, again, like I said, it made the ROI it was blown up. It was paid off in a couple of months instead of a couple of years. I mean, outstanding point, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, just to give everybody a little view or a little insight, I think we have another video that we're going to show specifically on this. And again, it may refer to RFID and or RTLS on it, but it at its foundation will show a little bit about what's going on here and the innovation. I think this is a public video that you guys actually have and share with your customers as well, just to show that you're forward thinking, innovative.
Yeah, very.
Let's give that a look.
RFID is radio frequency identification. We initially looked at this as an asset tracking technology, trying to locate material within our operation. The minute material is received, we have an RFID tag on the asset. That expands throughout our entire process of production to out the door, advanced shipping notices, and even receiving all the way to our customer end.
I was on board 100%. So if you look at other plants, you can see waiting on material might be one of their biggest downtime codes.
With the old scanning system, unless somebody would tell us where the material was at, then we wouldn't know where it was at because nothing was automated.
RFID, every 3 minutes, it sends a signal to our antennas and reports back to our programming.
If you move the material over to another location, it's automatically, we know exactly where it's going to. It has helped us tremendously.
As we evolved into that, we saw a lot of new opportunities to take our digitalization to the next level, where we are shipping these tags and the customer is using these tags internally to see when they've consumed a product, it triggers an automatic reorder to us. That expands further into a full transparency of the supply chain, and now we can see that solution from the mill production all the way through to a customer's finished good out their door.
With our loading times have decreased at least 30 minutes per load, that has helped us out on every aspect.
We've saved on overtime, we've saved on man hours, employee coming to the supervisor saying, I can't find this. And so it's making me more productive on focusing on added value to this company instead of worrying about lost inventory.
Right now out of Tulsa, we On average, we do 25 loads to 30 loads a day. And also with carriers that we were unable to use before because of the wait time, now we have bigger companies coming back to us because they're not waiting as long anymore.
I know internally our time savings was well over 75%. I think the time savings we could get out of customer would easily be something similar, if not greater.
So I already asked you the question about benefits that surprised you. So tell us a little bit about how you think this improved customer loyalty, just even in its first foundational stage.
That was another side little benefit, Tom. We have customers that are, just in time, just a big name everyone but knows, Whirlpool Corporation. They're right down the road from us, and it is literally just in time. And they would maybe not find a piece of material in their plant, and they're calling and begging to get something out the door as fast as possible. And in some cases, minutes actually mattered. And instead of taking 30, 40 minutes to find this material, we knew it was right there. We knew it was in stock, picked it up, can put it on a truck in a matter of minutes and be across town in 12 minutes, and they would have material. I mean, so that type of service goes a long ways. When people want to talk price, but nobody talks about continuity of supply. And here we're able to make sure a line is never down. So it was a side little benefit.
Huh. So, when we talk about, customer loyalty, and it's interesting that you are located, very close to your customers, it seems, in some of these cases, and some of your plants, it certainly makes sense from a supply chain perspective. Being able to react and be, is actually, is not necessarily, again, something that people initially think about when they think of IoT or assessing data, but being able to, it's the entire holistic process itself that lends itself to being able to be nimble.
For sure.
Okay, so we're going to open this up to questions from our viewing public, and one that has just came in and asked, tell us what's next. I think that was actually, they stole one of my lines on that. What's next for RTLS and Kloeckner?
Great question. Something we've been working on for a while, because we know that there's so much more that can be done with this technology. As we talked about earlier, we are a digital company, and we've made some very large investments in that front. We didn't talk about the early problems of some IT implementation, like everything is. Everything's tied to IT. But as we're doing this, and the original decision was, is it passive tags or active tags? And when we made that decision to go to active tags, a couple light bulbs went on with me and saw, wow, we're trying to digitalize our supply chain. This is all thoughts and ideas, and it's just about to happen, I believe, Tom. But our thought process was, okay, I've got these tags. All I need is a gate, and it leaves our building. That sends an advanced shipping notice to the customer that, hey, all these tags are coming your way. We know that they're on this truck. They implement the same readers on their side, and the second that truck pulls into the dock bays or into that facility, it's read, and now it's instant receipt on their side. Again, talking about resources today, one of the biggest things we face here post-COVID is resources. We are having a difficult time, and I think most people are today, finding people and retaining good people. But with this technology, we start to take some of that human touch out of the equation. Here the tags leave, it's automatically sent to the customer, it's automatically received by the customer, they see that it pulled in the building, it's here. It does have to be unloaded, at least today, by a human. Now they take this and put it into their storage rack or their storage area. A, we know it's there. B, they know it's there. And then when it's pulled from that area and consumed, that triggers within our system an automatic reorder point to just keep this whole supply chain flowing. Okay, that's just us to the customer, and this is very, very capable here of doing this supply chain with very little human intervention. Then we can expand it up, right? We are the middleman to a steel mill. Steel mills produce big bulk quantities. We take it and package it down into something usable for an end user, you know, a Whirlpool, a Train, a Lennox, just something like that. So we can now, with their consumption at the customer's end, we could translate that all the way back up our supply chain to our mill supply source and our partners. And they can see it in real time. Here, this amount of steel was consumed, and a few amounts of this equate to this large coil for us to produce. That goes into production. That's some longer term vision, but I fully think it's capable, Tom. I think it's there.
So one of the things that when we talk about, you know, the receipt of, you know, there's also, I'm imagining some processes that get manual. I know just firsthand, as we try to collect from our partners and our customers, and getting payments to occur on time is always an issue, and because it is all about, right?
Didn't even touch on that, right? So it's all automatically received. Now that stops the payment errors, or it automatically triggers a payment back to us. There's a benefit for them and us. Maybe it's a little more on time. You might save 1 or 2 days in DSO. How big is that today, especially with, well, you guys don't know, but our steel prices are the highest they've ever been in the history of steel right now. So it all matters.
We're all being challenged economically here from the chip shortage, and it's amazing how its flow through has affected so many industries.
Yep.
So tell us what else, even foundational within the business itself, once you've got these locators installed, what else could be could be done in terms of just within your plant? You know, we always talk about doing more with location. What else could be tackled there?
So Bob with RTB Engineering was our solutions provider here, and he had helped open my eyes to some other new possible things that we can use internally, and that was kind of just material flow, right? We cut steel and we create a tag and a skid of material. How many times have we touched that throughout our process? Did we just move it to finished goods into the truck? Did we take it and move it just to a truck for shipment? Or did we move it across the plant 6 different times? And we do that. We touch it 4, 5, 6 different times. We don't know why. So a new thing now with the RTLS is now we know this tag was here, and it was here, and it was here. Why did that happen? It might help us lay out the plant better, decide faster moving product should go here, slower moving product can go here. Again, further efficiency inside the plant. It's not as tangible at that point to see that savings, but time is money. We know time is money, and there's an efficiency there that we could absolutely capitalize on.
Yeah, well, someone would argue the same efficiencies that happened at least initially. You know, you didn't know what you were going to get out of, out of beyond just the length of time that it took for you to find something, right? So who knows what's beyond. Well, Jason, I'd like to thank you again for your time. This has been wonderful. I hope that this has been meaningful for our partners and for our viewing public. I'm very excited to be able to kick this off with you. Thank you for giving us the end user perspective, a real rubber, where the rubber hits the road example. And we look forward to, more conversations like this. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Tom. You bet. Thanks, guys.
Thomas, back to you.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. Really exciting stuff you're doing with location, and looking forward to the next steps working together with you.